Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Burnt Coverage. I'm Curtis.
And I'm Joel.
And you're joining us here for us to break down your defense and kicker picks for weekly and daily NFL fantasy leagues for week 2. And Joel, you want to start this off?
My pick of the week is going to be the amazing St. Louis Cardinals. It's baseball playoffs.
Joel's old.
St. Louis. No, it's baseball. St. Louis Rams defense. Last week the Rams had an amazing game against the much overrated Seattle Seahawks. And they had 6 sacks and 1 interception last week against the Seahawks. Have had some a little bit of success in the league, but I really think they're going against the Washington Redskins. Washington Redskins starting quarterback Kirk Cousins. As we all know, Kirk Cousins cannot handle pressure. You put a couple of guys in his face, he's going to throw interceptions no matter what. But if you get the pressure on him, he's going to throw multiple interceptions. So I really look for a pick 6, and I'm not going to look for 6 sacks again, but I'm going to look for more interceptions this week out of the St. Louis Rams. Especially, I have their price here. Their dirt cheap price of $3,100 on DraftKings and $4,900 on FanDuel. You can't beat it.
Yeah, and we discussed in another segment how this could positively affect Jordan Reed. St. Louis line's going to be coming at Kirk Cousins. He needs to come at all. So as a weird stack, the Rams defense and Jordan Reed, it seems a little counterintuitive, but that might actually work out for you.
But that's going to be the Burnt Coverage Stack of the Week.
There it is. We're titling a Stack of the Week.
Oh, nice. We have a segment.
Nice. Man, doing TV is easy. My pick for this week, or one of my picks, is once again picking on my poor defenseless Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I do mean defenseless Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I want to focus on how bad their offense is by picking the Saints defense this week as a great play in daily and weekly leagues. The Saints defense is coming in at only $2,800 in DraftKings and $4,500 in FanDuel. One of the reasons is because the Saints defense really isn't that great. They had one decent year under blank Ryan.
Not Rob Ryan.
Not Rob Ryan. Yeah. Rex, Rob.
It's Rob.
It is Rob.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Under Rob Ryan, he'll eventually be fired, probably by mid-season at this rate.
He's got great hair.
He does have great hair. But the best thing for you is that everybody's defense looks good against the Tampa Bay offense, especially if Mike Evans doesn't play. There's going to be a bunch of sacks. There's probably going to be a pick or two while Jameis Winston figures out his learning curve, which is big if you watch the first game. I really like also the fact that the Saints are playing at home. This game could get out of hand really early. I think they're going to leave Winston in, which might actually help the Saints defense as the game goes on if they're down, because Mike Glenn at this point might be a more polished NFL quarterback. So as I did last week, I played Tennessee defense against my beloved Bucks and it paid off handsomely. I'm going to do the same thing again and play the Saints this week.
Are you worried? The only thing that concerns me is garbage time. Like, we try to capitalize on garbage time stats all the time, but I think this is a case where it could work against you in that they could be down the Bucks could be down so much that they're going to be forced to keep throwing, and the odds of them hitting on Winston's got to throw for a couple touchdowns at some point, right?
Well, he did. He threw 2 touchdowns last week. So it wasn't all negative in Winston's game. It's just the bad things looked really bad.
It was all negative.
Didn't look that great. Thank you, Joel. But the problem is the whole we're down, go deep thing, and why it didn't work last week either is because the line is so terrible. It's not going to give him time to let his receivers get down the field, and his best receiver, even if he does play, as a bulky hamstring. So I think that hurts, and that's why you're going to see a lot of Austin Seferian-Jenkins, shorter passes, maybe 10 to 15 yards, and it's going to be hard to have enough time to throw deep to anybody, especially to find somebody who's healthy who can get separation.
I mean, they're all good points, and as much as I like to stomp on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers whenever possible, I don't know that I think the New Orleans offense is going to have a great game. I just don't know. I'm worried about the garbage time. I'm worried about the garbage time stats for the Bucs, so I don't know. I think that could really harm your lineup.
All right, so we got it. Joel's predicting the Bucs win.
That's exactly what I said.
Oh, I'm glad somebody is.
Even Winston knows they're going to lose.
You guys,
I got one more. Who do I want to talk about? Let's talk about the Houston Texans. All right, so we have an issue. The Houston Texans did not have a great game last week. The Houston Texans have a bit of a quarterback controversy. The Houston Texans had a really good defense and did not play a good game. That is completely wiping out last week. But what I'm focusing on, they're playing Carolina Panthers. Last week, Cam Newton against a terrible, not Tampa Bay Buccaneer team, Jacksonville Jaguars team, Cam Newton threw for 175 yards. Cam Newton is not a good fantasy quarterback. He's not running anymore, and that is where all his value used to be. And I think with Houston Texans do have a great pass rush. They just didn't show up last week. I think they'll get that fixed in practice this week. And I think the Houston Texans are going to be in Cam's face all day long. And I apologize for my call about Greg Olsen last week because Greg Olsen did not show up at all. I do anticipate a better game out of Olsen, but we'll talk about that in a different segment, maybe not. But even outside of Olsen, they have no weapons whatsoever. Jonathan Stewart does not scare me at all. Cam Newton does not scare me at all. If you can only throw for 175 yards against Jacksonville, you're not going to throw for more than that against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, on paper, the strengths, if you can call them that, of the Panthers don't really match up well against the strengths of the Houston Texans. I will say that Carolina does have a decent line, but what's a decent line when J.J. Watt's on the other side of it? I think as far as safe plays go, this might be one of the safer ones. And Houston isn't that expensive, especially after last week. And I know the Chiefs aren't everybody's fantasy darling, but they are a good NFL team. They're consistently battling for the playoffs. And Carolina was 7-9 last year.
And the Texans are even cheaper than my previous call of St. Louis. The Texans are going for $2,900 on DraftStreet and $2,900 on DraftKings and $4,600 on FanDuel. So I think it's an even better bargain if you need to save a couple dollars to stack your wide receiver or your quarterback.
My pick this week for another low-end defensive play is the Tennessee Titans, headed by assistant head coach Dick LeBeau, formerly of the Steelers. This team absolutely annihilated Jameis Winston last week and the inept Bucs offense. Now they're traveling to Cleveland to annihilate probably Johnny Manziel and their inept offense. They were pretty much shut down by the Jets outside of one long play. And we get another matchup of former Heisman winners, and we probably know how this one's going to go as well. Cleveland doesn't have a lot to offer on the offensive side. Tennessee and Dick LeBeau are going to be sending a lot of blitzes, just as they did last week against Tampa. For the price of $3,000 in DraftKings and $4,600 in FanDuel, I really think this is a safe matchup.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that Cleveland has absolutely nothing to offer offensively. I want to like Duke Johnson a lot, but I wish to God he played on a different team.
Yeah.
The play calling there is just atrocious.
And even if you thought Johnny Manziel looked decent last week, they didn't game plan for him, the Jets. And this week, obviously, Tennessee will be game planning for Johnny Manziel.
I don't think anyone outside of Cleveland city limits thought Johnny Manziel looked good last week.
And he had a moment or two, and that's about the best I can give him. Yeah. And he's not going to look much better this week, especially with the Tennessee Titans studying film on him and preparing specifically for him and his strengths. I guess that about does it.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Cool. Oh, kickers.
Shit.
I like Josh Brown this week, 4,500. He did well last week.
John Lambo, San Diego Chargers against a Cincinnati Bengals team. He did also very well, rookie kicker, former soccer player.
Yeah, also 4,500. So there you go. And if you're spending a lot of money on kickers, just take your money out of these leagues and do anything else with it, really.
Stop watching this show.
Yes, thank you. Please watch our show. And join us for another segment very soon. Good luck in week 2.
Win some money.